I'd like you to find a quiet moment and say the words, "I am alive," without saying them out loud. Do this 3 times, increasing the volume each time you repeat the words. You will notice that you heard the words a bit louder, even though you didn't actually say them out loud. How did you hear them? Introducing the egoic voice. It's a vocal fire within you that keeps you sparked up but needs to be controlled and contained. Otherwise, it can spread dangerously and cause self-destruction. The egoic voice was first created in childhood. It's there to make sure your needs are always met. It puts you first every single time, and it will not stop until it's convinced that your needs are being met. So what are your needs? Well, its purpose is to protect you as follows. It's designed to protect you from the risk of abandonment. It protects your sense of self-worth. It protects you from the risk of rejection. And it protects your survival instincts. The egoic voice is not you. It is talking to you, not for you, and not as you. You are the conscious awareness of this voice, and therefore you have complete authority over it. And you can guide it, redirect it, and completely silence it if you wish to do so. Most people have unconsciously merged identity with their egoic voice, and therefore they live life in a highly reactive emotional state, because the internal dialogue is persistent when it's not controlled. When we realize we can quieten it, rationalize with it, and even silence it, this gives us the space we need to proactively decide how we want to behave in any situation. This choice means that we're no longer controlled by our environment. In fact, we are in control of how we respond to the triggers in our environment. As with any relationship, we get the best results when we learn about the character of who we're dealing with. So here are the most common traits of the egoic voice. It is dominant when a person is demanding attention from other people most of the time. Its persistent, insecure whispering can cause a person to act as if they are superior to others, yet they will be seeking external validation or recognition most of the time. A person with a strong egoic voice will have a tendency to believe that they are right most of the time, without fully considering other perspectives. They usually blame other people for situations they are in, because a strong ego does not like to take accountability. The egoic voice is very greedy, rarely being satisfied and constantly seeking more, because it comes from a place of insecurity. If a person interrupts others a lot, it is a sign of their egoic voice dominating. If a person is highly sensitive to other people's criticism, this is usually driven by the ego because it receives criticism as a means to make it feel inferior. The tendency to show off and be ostentatious is linked directly to the egoic voice. Being threatened by or disliking other people's success is a clear sign of an overactive ego. A dominant egoic voice will cause a person to twist conversations around in order to distort information so as to completely avoid problems. When the egoic voice is highly active, a person will want to control everything and everyone. A person will use deflection to change a subject in order to avoid taking ownership of the issues. If the egoic voice is left unchallenged, it can cause a person to think very individualistically, which can make them act selfishly because they will always put their own needs first. A highly active egoic voice will trap a person to always be living in the negative past memories. This puts them in a state of worrying and putting themselves under excessive pressure. The egoic voice makes a person always want to win, whether it be an argument or in competition. It prefers to completely avoid problems, and therefore it is common for the person to go into denial. A strong ego can cause a person to have an unrealistic sense of entitlement from others. It makes them highly judgmental and opinionated. The egoic voice hates being challenged and therefore it can make a person say hurtful things to others by using attack as a form of defense. The truth is that the egoic voice prefers to lie in order to uphold one's image, and so deception can become normalized. A strong egoic voice causes a person to listen to advice, but rarely follow it. If you know somebody who shows a lot of the above traits, or you yourself show them, it simply means that the egoic voice is dominant and the fire inside has gone a bit wild. To have more balanced, mutually healthy relationships and successful experiences in life, the egoic voice will need to be controlled, guided, and sometimes temporarily silenced. This requires internal dialogue between your ego and your higher self, that is your conscious awareness. I say temporarily silenced because each of the egoic traits are useful in controlled measure. Just as a fire gives warmth, the ego can give competitive edge. It can bolster our confidence at times and help us to not be intimidated in certain situations. But in the majority of circumstances, the egoic voice needs to be reined in because it is self-serving to a detrimental level when it's left unchecked. For more information about this topic, you can watch my video, Managing the Egoic Voice.